Hello everyone, I'm Randy Arrington and welcome to the 39th episode of Page Valley Living. We're here today at Luray Caverns inside of the Car and Carriage Caravan Museum to talk about a new entry at the museum and its future expansion. We'll talk with Rod Graves of Luray Caverns and Daniel Spain, the manager of the Car and Carriage Caravan Museum. They're going to recently add to the museum some things of local Luray historical interest, as well as maybe some new cars from new decades that they haven't seen in this museum since it opened in the late 1950s. We're going to do all of that and more, but first let's hear a quick word about today's sponsor. At Luray Caverns, from well-lighted paved walkways, explore cathedral-sized rooms with ceilings 10 stories high and walk among huge chambers filled with towering stone columns. Come visit Geology's Hall of Fame, only at Luray Caverns. Visit them online at luraycaverns.com to plan your trip today. We'll talk classic cars here with Daniel Spain and Rod Graves in just a moment, but first, let's take a quick look at this week's headlines. And now looking back at the week that was in the Page Valley. More than $21,000 was raised for cancer research as a result of the 2024 Relay for Life event held at the Page Valley Fairgrounds on Saturday. A 10-member executive leadership team put the carnival-style event together for the first time at the fairgrounds and had great success despite the damp weather. Shenandoah National Park officials are still seeking information related to multiple vehicle break-ins in the central district of the park on Sunday, September the 22nd, near Big Meadows. The victims reported stolen credit and debit cards and forms of identification, among other personal items. If you have information that could help, please contact the National Park Service-wide tip line at 888-653-0009. That's 888-653-0009. Page County Public Schools opened 2 hours late on Wednesday after being closed Monday and Tuesday due to flooding caused by Hurricane Helene. The storm dropped more than 5 inches of rain on the Page Valley over the past 5 days. However, Page County Sheriff's Office has reported no major incidents. In the world of sports, the Luray golf team won the Bull Run District title last week at Heritage Oaks in Harrisonburg. Luray's Will Judy shot an 80, giving him second place as district runner-up and a spot on the all-district golf team. Page County's Logan Foster shot an 81 to take third place, while Luray's Blake Turner took fifth, or tied for fifth rather, with an 83. Both earned all-district honors. Luray now advances as a team to the Region B Golf Tournament, which has been scheduled for Monday, or I should say rescheduled for Monday, October the 7th. The Page County Panthers have now stacked up back-to-back wins to even out the 2024-2025 football season. After an 0-2 start at home with the lopsided losses to Bath and East Rockingham, Page narrowly defeated King and Queen 20-19 on the road September 20th, and then handled the Generals of Stonewall Jackson on the road 27-12 last Thursday night. Senior running back Ken Seth Tharp had a big night for the Panthers, scoring 3 touchdowns against the Generals. Tharp would finish the night with 78 yards on 14 carries. Up next, Page will host 0-4 Rocktown with an opportunity to string together 3 wins on the season this Friday, October 7th at 7 p.m. at Buddy Comer Stadium. And finally, in sports, congratulations goes out to LHS senior Davy Johnson, who announced on social media on Tuesday that he intends to sign as a runner with the NCAA Division II Raiders of Shippensburg University. And now looking at the weekend ahead in the Page Valley. On Friday, October 4th from 7 to 9 p.m., Music Bingo down at the Valley Cork in downtown Luray. Then on Saturday, October 5th, all sorts of things happening from 9 a.m. to noon. It's the Daughter of the Stars Farmers Market at 56 East Main Street in Luray. From 1 to 3 p.m. out at Cooters in the Valley out on Route 211, it's the Cooters Garage Band hitting the stage. From 5 to 7 p.m., it's Music Under the Arbor at Wisteria Farm and Vineyard with the band Hayes out on Marksville Road near Stanley. At 7 p.m. and again 3 p.m. on Sunday, there will be a 45-minute Carillon concert at the Luray Singing Tower across from Luray Caverns. And at 7:30 p.m. at the Rebecca J. Graves Regional Center for the Performing Arts, POW presents Luray native and saxophonist Brent Gordon live in concert. That's Saturday night down at POW in downtown Luray, 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. And that's the headlines, folks, from the past week in the Page Valley. Episode 39 of Page Valley Living is being recorded on Monday, September the 30th, and will air on Wednesday, October the 7th. October the 2nd. And we're back now at the Luray Caverns Car and Carriage Caravan Museum here, along with Rod Graves and Daniel Spain. And I want to thank both of you gentlemen so much for being here today and talking with us today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how big a gearhead would you say you are?
I'd say probably 7. I'm more of a historian. I like the aesthetics of the automobiles and the history of them a lot. I'm not very mechanical, but I do know what's right and wrong with any of the cars in here. So.
How about you, Daniel?
Probably about a 6.
Okay.
I like the history of transportation and a broad spectrum of historical objects, but the aesthetic beauty and the engineering that went into these is something that I find appealing.
Well, there's certainly a lot on display here at the Car and Carriage Caravan Museum. They go back to the 19th century and all the way up through, I believe, the 1930s and 40s. Now, you recently refurbished this old gas pump right here that's now being displayed here in the Car and Carriage Caravan Museum. Tell me about where it used to sit and where in the world you found it.
Well, we bought it at auction, and it had, we got announced that there was going to be an incredible auction here in Luray of Mr. Doffmeyer's collection of gas pumps and automobilia from 2 generations of owning Texaco gas station. And they had, this was one of them that was there. It didn't look like that when we bought it. Danny and I had it restored, put a lot of research into it.
How many hours would you say you put into this thing?
It's more like years. Literally two years of a lot of research, a lot of it on Denny's part, and myself as well was involved with a historic detail. We really wanted to make everything sure that was historically accurate. And
Well, tell me a little bit about what you had to do to get it looking like this. It looks brand new.
it had to be taken apart, and a local company painted it for us, and they did an outstanding job for it. But it all takes time to get it right. Now, this gas pump originally stood in Luray, where the car wash is, close to the hospital, that's still owned by the Doffmeyer family today. But originally, that was the first Texaco station, was there in Luray.
No kidding.
Yes, sir.
No kidding. Now, you told me before we went on the air, your father, H.D. and Ted Graves, first dedicated this Car and Carriage Caravan Museum in October of 1957. Now, over the past 70-plus years, have there been any major changes, or what has been the biggest change since up to this point since opening the museum?
Well, after college, I was asked to be the manager of the Car and Carriage Caravan Museum, and a lot has changed. Danny can attest to that as well. We've had wonderful care with it through Wayne Bradley before I came in here, and he's continued to work here, and then Daniel came in following him, and we worked together to really transform the museum of what it looked like aesthetically inside. The interpretive information, there was a lot of mistakes, and we wanted it to brighten it up, make it look more contemporary, and it's come a long way, from the carpet all the way to the walls to the lighting, and we've continued to grow and try to make it nice. We have the banners here in the museum that talk about each year, and more fun things for kids to read and kind of relate to, because a lot of these objects are much older than they were when Dad started in 1957.
Right.
So we're trying to make it as relative as possible to most people in today's world.
All right, I'm going to turn over here to Daniel just for a second. Now, how many cars are currently in this museum?
There are 50 motor-driven automobiles on display currently with the Car and Carriage.
And how often are they polished? Because I tell you, they are gleaming.
We thank you for that. They're dusted daily, up to twice daily, and they are waxed or polished about every 4 to 6 months here.
Now, how many cars might we expect in this new expansion? What types of cars might we see?
We're hoping to be able to include 5 to 7 new automobiles from the late 40s all the way through the 1960s in the museum expansion.
Very good, very good. Well, I'm looking all around this museum here, and it is a pretty tight fit. It is jam-packed with all types of antique vehicles around here. So where are all these new cars going to fit?
Well, we're going to make an addition out front, and we'll go span from the 50s through the 70s for automobiles and related objects having to do with transportation at that time. And we're having a really, really special automobile, a Mark II from 1957.
Oh, wow.
And they are super rare. Elvis Presley actually had one of these cars. This is a presentation car. We bought it in Colorado and really are giving it a great home. It's an incredible automobile.
Now, is this part of the construction that we see going on out front, or is it some other things going on with that?
No, sir. That's our new welcome center for the Luray Caverns. This project will start next year, probably in the fall, about this time. For this car and carriage caravan museum.
Okay, very well. Now, what inspired or brought about this expansion and inclusion of more recent antique vehicles? I'm going to start with Daniel.
It was just a desire to build on what has already been done by our predecessors, and just to extend kind of the display that has been with us for the last 75 years or so since the museum opened there.
And I'll just let you add on to any of that you'd like to.
Danny is right. We stand on really big shoulders here with Dad's collection and all the people that help him get to that point to present. And what we're trying to do is make this museum more relevant to people that are visiting today, and create a bigger picture of the history of automobiles and carriages and transportation, and how we've evolved from just walking to driving.
Very good. Well, we're going to pause just for another quick break, and will both of you guys stick around and play a game called the 5 W's with us?
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to do that in just a moment, but first, another message about our sponsor. At Luray Caverns, the Smithsonian Institution said, quote, "It is safe to say that there is probably no other cave in the world more completely and profusely decorated than that of Luray. Come see Mother Nature showing off only at Luray Caverns. Visit them online at luraycaverns.com to plan your trip today." And now we're going to finish up by playing a quick Q&A game called the 5 W's. I'm going to ask you 5 simple questions about the who, what, when, where, and why. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Who is your favorite auto manufacturer?
Dodge.
Dodge, not a Ford or a Chevy man. You're a Dodge
Ford
man.
and Chevy are fine. I'm all for the American made, but if I had to pick of the 3, I'm going to go with Dodge.
I hear you. How about you?
An automobile company that doesn't exist anymore. It's Auburn, Cord, and Duesenberg,
Now, where is that hail out of?
Indiana.
Indiana. All right. Very
Auburn,
well.
Indiana.
Very well. And now, what is your dream car?
I'm going to say a Mercedes Gullwing, just because they're rare, they're very elegant, and they're not a Dodge, but it's still a nice car.
How about you?
Mine's an Auburn Boattail Speedster V8.
Oh, wow.
And they were very rare. A lot of actresses and actors had them back in the Depression era.
Oh, okay, in the 30s. All right, very well. And when did you first get behind the wheel of a car, and what car did you drive?
About 1996, and it was a 92 Dodge Ram 50 truck, and a manual, I might add.
How about you?
Well, mine, you had to double clutch it. So
Oh,
if
wow.
that says anything.
Wow.
Mine was a Jeepster. It was about a 1960 Jeepster pickup truck.
Okay. All right.
Farm truck.
And where is the strangest place that you've ever driven?
Probably off-road in the Blue Ridge Mountains, Rappahannock, Virginia.
right.
Tough country.
And how about you?
My first experience driving a strange place was Lisbon, Portugal.
Okay.
And I had to drive in roundabouts with a lot of Latin drivers. And that was an experience and a half for the first time. Then I got used to it, but it was really, really scary the first time.
Is it true they don't have stop signs? They just kind of keep going and you have to pop in whenever?
They just keep going. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, so much for your time. Here's our last question: is our why. We always end with that. I'm gonna let you both answer on this same question. Why preserve? I can see maybe why we preserve a lot of these automobiles. Why preserve something as simple as this gas pump right here?
Well, that's a good question, Randy. It's a true piece of Americana. And one thing with the visible pumps, they were a transition from a time when fuel was simply pumped into the cars, where the clients and the customers wanted to verify visually how much fuel they were actually getting.
No kidding.
So prior to the electronics and the number of meters that we're used to, there was a time when you just had to use trust to see how much fuel you were getting. So this visible is a fine example of the era and the exact time when that changed.
Well, I never knew why the glass was like that. So whatever gas you ordered, that's what would show up here and then go into your vehicle.
That is correct.
I did not know that. How about that? So why preserve something as for the person who put hours and hours and years into this? Why preserve something as simple as this gas pump?
Well, I'm all about preservation, and the reason why is because in order to look ahead, we have to look behind and see. We have to have a measuring stick. And not only is this interesting, to me it's aesthetically very beautiful, too, and ingenuity at its greatest. It also shows about people wanting to see that, like Danny said, with the visual. Shows a different time when people trusted people a little bit more than they do now, or maybe vice versa. Maybe they were tighter with their money than they are now.
Right.
They kind of trust now with a credit card, whereas it's all cash before.
Yeah.
And I want to see it.
The different way of living. Now, what are we going to do about bringing gas back to 10 cents a gallon?
I don't have that answer.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank Daniel Spain and Rod Graves, both of you gentlemen, for being here and spending some time with us today. And Mr. Graves, in particular, with you and your brother and your family, I want to thank you so much for what you have done for our community, and also the things that I know you will continue to do in the years to come. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
We also want to say thanks to Eleanor Arrington for all of her work behind the camera and some work in the editing room this week. If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you hit that like button, share it with a friend, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Page Valley News. And finally, make sure you visit all of our furry friends down at the Page County Animal Shelter and help them find a forever home. Until next week, I'm Randy Arrington saying, enjoy that Page Valley living.